I support the files being out there.
Why won't he release them?
Both Republicans and Democrats.
Sure, I agree. We agree on that.
So
why won't Donald Trump want anybody to talk about it? In fact, he's called his supporters stupid for even bringing it up.
Well,
what is a reason for Donald Trump doing that? So let me ask you this. Do you have any kids?
I have an 18-year-old.
Okay. So if Donald Trump, male or female, if you don't mind me asking.
I have a son.
Okay. Say you had a young daughter.
Yeah.
And a guy goes into a teenage girl's locker room while she's undressing and brags about it on the Howard Stern Show in a sexual manner. Is that, number one, is that behavior you condone? And number two, would you support somebody like that?
So if I had a daughter and an 18-year-old went into my daughter's locker room and undressed, would I condone that sort of behavior? 100% not.
Would you vote for somebody like that?
I would not.
Donald Trump bragged about going into teenage girls' locker rooms when he ran beauty pageants on the Howard Stern Show. In a sexual manner, he bragged about it. It's all over the internet. Okay. You can find it. Does that change your opinion at all?
No, because it's not the behavior.
But you just said you wouldn't vote for somebody like that.
Well, if this was anywhere current, you said Howard Stern. How long ago was he on Howard Stern?
So if you do something really horrible, but it didn't happen recently, it happened 20 years ago, that changes your opinion?
Well, let me ask you this. So are you familiar, during cancel culture and the Me Too movement, I found it to be quite deplorable that there was a lot of individuals who were on the Me Too train. For instance, I like rock music. I like Motley Crue. Have you ever read The Dirt? Are you familiar with the book The Dirt?
I'm not. I want to talk to you about cancel culture. I do. But I just want to ask you one more question. So we agree, going into teenage women's locker rooms is horrible. But why do you put a timestamp on it? If let's just say allegedly, if you raped somebody 20 years ago and you raped somebody a year ago, they're both equally as bad. Why does time have anything to do with your decision?
Well, first off, I don't know. I don't even know the context of the story.
Well, he bragged about it on the Howard Stern show. And there were 3 women that were there in the locker room.
Howard Stern brags about a lot of stupid things too. And that I've listened to that show back when it was on radio, way before it was on satellite radio. So he's said and done a lot of stupid stuff on his show as well.
But he's never bragged about looking at 14 and 15-year-old girls naked.
We don't know what he's bragged about either.
Well, I mean, the reason why I got into radio is because of Howard Stern. He's never bragged about sexual assault. He's not a 34-count felon. He's never.
Well, neither is Trump. So let's be very clear.
A jury convicted him
of what?
Of falsifying business records.
That wasn't him.
Then why did a jury convict him?
Well, the jury convicted him because you know as well as I do. Would you have been okay if they had moved that trial out of New York and into maybe a 50-50 county?
But
would you?
They didn't do that though.
No, of course they didn't.
So you're saying the verdict, the charges, and the felony convictions
all bullshit.
Were all bullshit because
100%.
You believe there were Democrats on the jury?
Yeah.
Can you name me one name of one registered Democrat that was on the jury?
No, because I don't care.
So you just assumed they're all Democrats.
Where did it take place? Where did the trial take place?
Where
did the trial take place?
In New York.
Where in New York?
Manhattan.
Okay.
So
what was the vote in this last election from Manhattan, Harris versus Trump?
So your opinion is, if you're a Republican that is on trial in Manhattan,
you ain't gonna get a fair trial.
Any Republican can't get a fair trial.
No, I don't believe that.
Okay. Well, I respectfully disagree with that.
Especially Donald Trump. Okay. Especially Donald Trump.
I would respect.
Now, if it was a no-name, somebody that somebody didn't know, it might be a different story. But especially Donald Trump.
So the 25 women that have accused him of rape or sexual assault, the fact that he is a liable adjudicated rapist, which was also
no, it wasn't an adjudicated rapist. Use the right terminology.
The judge characterized it as rape.
I don't care. That's what the judge said, but that's not what the.
So liable sexual abuse.
What was he? Convicted of, or what was his fine for? What's the fine for?
He was found liable for sexual abuse.
That's wrong.
What was he found liable of?
He was found liable for, what was it? Queen Jean-Pierre for, what's the word I'm looking for? My heart rate's up, so.
That's okay. Take your time.
You got to give me a reason here.
Well, I mean, listen. I've talked about this ad nauseam.
It was no. It wasn't for rape. It was for slandering or whatever. What was?
It wasn't for slander. So he got found liable for slander after the trial because he continued to slander her. He was found liable for sexual abuse.
Do you really think that he sexually abused her?
So I'll answer your question by saying this, and the answer is yes, but I'll give you the reasons why. His own ex-wife in court documents claimed that he raped her. 25 women have accused him of sexual assault or rape. Donald Trump was best friends with probably one of the biggest sex traffickers on the planet for 10 years.
Who, Epstein?
Yes, for 10
But
years.
you don't know that they were best friends.
Actually, Jeffrey Epstein on audio said that they were best friends.
So
and Donald Trump.
That's Epstein saying that.
Okay, so you think Epstein would lie? Well, I interviewed Jeffrey Epstein's brother.
Wait a second. So you're going to say that Epstein wouldn't lie, but you're also going to give him credibility, even though you just called him a pedophile.
I'm not giving Epstein any credibility. What we see is, do you see pictures with Joe Biden and Jeffrey Epstein? Do you see pictures with Barack Obama and Jeffrey Epstein? In the Maxwell trial, we learned that Donald Trump was on the Epstein plane flight log at least 7 times.
To where?
We don't know where. I'm saying he was on, and also I will say this, answer me this then. So Ghislaine Maxwell, we probably could both agree. Maxwell is a horrific human being. One of the biggest sex traffickers ever. We can agree on that, right? She's a convicted felon. Can we agree on that?
Well, she was convicted.
Okay, so she was convicted for sex trafficking.
Well, I don't know her story. I didn't follow the trial.
Well, she was convicted for sex trafficking, and she was, some of the women have said she was worse than Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump's personal attorney goes to see Maxwell. Maxwell clears Donald Trump's name, and then they send her basically to a Club Med. They send her to a facility that is unheard of, that's someone that is charged and convicted of her crimes. Why would they do that?
I don't know. What's your speculation?
My speculation is the same article that the reason why Donald Trump doesn't want anybody talking about the Epstein files.
Well, why do you think that?
Because he's hiding something because he's in the Epstein files.
So you really believe that Donald Trump was in those files? How come they weren't released in the 2020?
Because they were under seal, and the reason why they were sealed is because during the Maxwell trial, Joe Biden was unable to do that. But here's what I will say to that: if in fact Joe Biden didn't want to release the files, or any Democrat, because they were trying to protect somebody, I think it's wrong. Donald Trump doesn't want people like you and me to talk about it. He called us stupid. He called it a hoax. There are dozens of women that were sexually abused.
So you don't know what's in those files. I don't know what's in those files.
What we know is a lot of people were abused.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
We do know that.
And the Wall Street Journal claimed that Donald Trump is in the files. So if you don't think Donald Trump is in those files, why do you think he doesn't want people to talk about it?
Well, we don't know what he is in those files. So you said he was on the flight logs, but we don't know where those flights were going.
No, but we know that.
So we do know that there's other people in those flight logs that just went back and forth in the United States. So maybe New York City to Florida or
okay, possible. But wouldn't you support the files being out there so that the people that are in those files are held to account?
I support the files being out there.
Why won't he release them?
Both Republicans and Democrats.
Sure, I agree. We agree on that.
So
why won't Donald Trump want anybody to talk about it? In fact, he's called his supporters stupid for even bringing it up.
Well,
what is a reason for Donald Trump doing that? What do you think that reason might be? Could it possibly be because he's hiding something?
I have no idea.
I'm asking you.
You're speculating. No, I don't believe he's hiding anything. I believe 100%. You're making excuses for Biden.
It's not an excuse.
Well, hang on. You said that he couldn't release those files, and now you
for 3 years
expect Trump to release those files.
So for 3. Well, here's what I do know about Joe Biden. He was never seen in a picture with Jeffrey Epstein.
How long has that evidence been in the hands of the FBI?
For quite some time now.
How long?
Sure. Years. I don't know the exact time.
And since 2016,
yeah,
there hasn't been anybody to leak information from the FBI, an FBI that you know was weaponized against Donald Trump.
Well, I can tell you that there was an ongoing investigation at that time in 2016, and Maxwell was on trial.
What would be the point? Why couldn't you? I mean, you know that Washington is a sieve. You know that you can't.
I guess here's where we disagree. I don't care whether Democrats or Republicans are hiding something. I'm just living in the present right now.
Okay.
And right now, we agree that they should be released, right? We want the victims to get, we want
I want it all to be released.
Absolutely, I'm with you.
I wanted the Kennedy files to be released.
Absolutely.
I wanted the Martin Luther King files to be released.
Sure. Donald Trump refuses to release the Epstein files.
He is not the only one that can release. That's
right now he is. The President of the United States right now does not need a court order or a judge order. If he wanted to, right now, he could release the files.
If that were the case, then why are we always going through these Democrats and Republicans in Congress voting against releasing certain information?
So
if he could just,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Just say boom.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Why does that keep happening?
The last vote they had last month, every single Democrat voted to release the files. Republicans are the ones that did not want to release them. Let me repeat. Every Democrat in Congress voted to release the files. Republicans do not want to release the files because they listen to Donald Trump and they're afraid of retribution. And yes, I do believe Donald Trump is a rapist. I do believe
Okay.
Donald Trump is a sexual abuser.